Some have given the ultimate sacrifice so that we must have the freedoms that we have today. We ask that you be with each and every one of them, defending our country and keep them safe and free from harm's way. We ask that you be with the many men and women in law enforcement, our first responders, EMS, fire, and all branches of emergency services, and keep them safe as they work hard to protect us and sacrifice time from their families so that we may be safe. We ask that you be with each and every one of us when we conclude the people's business, and give us traveling mercy so that we may return home to our families. And in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we'll call the meeting to order. The Hart County Board of Commissioners, Tuesday, July the 13th, 2021. I'd like to welcome each of you here tonight. We appreciate you being here in person, and as you know, if you could not make it out here, we're also streaming on YouTube and Channel 3 of our local TV station. So again, I'd like to welcome you that are here and the ones that are watching by media applications. First on the agenda that we need to take care of is to approve the agenda.
We have one addition, Chairman. Dr. Nathaniel Clark's here with us. I'd like to insert him under invited guest.
Okay.
Who is that now?
Dr. Nathaniel Clark. Okay, any other additions?
No, sir.
Okay, can we get a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Teasley. We got a second by Commissioner Dorsey. Any discussion? If not, we'll call for a vote. All in favor? 5-0 vote. Okay, next on the agenda is to approve the minutes of our previous meetings. We'll take the first one, June 22nd, 2021. Any additions or corrections to those minutes?
I have one on item 13C on 6/22. There was a 5-0 vote, and that actually was a 4-1 vote.
Okay.
And with that amendment, I approve the minutes.
Who was
That was me.
Commissioner Bennett, he went over this with me. I reached up, and I thought he had raised his hand, but I think he was maybe scratching his nose or something. I could have coughed or something, but he brought his hand up. But he said he didn't actually vote for that. So,
No, if you watch the tape, you'll see I didn't.
right, we went back and reviewed the tape. Any other additions or corrections?
I'll make a motion we approve the June 22nd regular meeting minutes.
Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Dorsey. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second by Commissioner Teasley. Any other discussion? If not, we'll call for a vote. All in favor? It's 5-0 vote. Okay, now for the minutes of June 29th called meeting. And this is merely for the approval to purchase a building for the fire department in Wisteria Cove Estate, taking in that road. Any additions or corrections to those minutes?
I'll make a motion we approve.
We got a motion by Commissioner Dorsey, a second by Commissioner Teasley. Any discussion? If not, we'll call for a vote. All in favor? It's 5-0 vote. Okay, now we have remarks by invited guests, committees, or authorities. So Dr. Nathaniel Clark, if you would come forward at this time and speak into the podium, we'd appreciate it.
First of all, I'd like to say good evening to everybody, and also to thank the commissioners that I talked to previously. I think I talked to Mr. Partain, and I've talked to Mr. Bennett, and probably Mr. Sagers, I believe. So anyway, I would like to thank them for inviting our group to attend this particular session. And to tell you about me, I'm Nathaniel Clark. I'm from Hartwell. I was born in Hart County in Hartwell and went to school from the first grade through the 12th grade at the Hart County Training School. And I have attempted to come back as often as I can. I have property here, and I'm here quite regular. To tell you a little bit about the group, the Historical Recognition Sponsor Group, we represent, and that includes Mrs. Merritt, Dr. Merritt, Diane Merritt, and also Ms. Loretta King over there, represent the Historical Recognition Sponsor Group. And we are a group that was developed or started back in, actually beginning in 2011, started with the class of 1963, Hart County Training School, with an idea, and we attempted to build upon something that had started previously by another group of people, and it was put on hold for a long period of time. And so my class, the class of 1963, resurfaced that. And so we put it on hold again for a short period of time, and we resurfaced it again in 2016 to open up, to have a lot more people involved with trying to get historical recognition of the Hart County Training School. And that was the main function or purpose at first, was to get historical recognition of the Hart County Training School, which was the only minority school from 1956 until 1971, I believe, in Hart County. It was historical because it was a Rosenwald school, for one, and it was a minority school too, and it was the only minority school. So it was historical in that respect. And there's one building that remains that was a part of the Rosenwald era, and that is the Gymnasium, which we will talk about later. But I'm going to read what I have here so I don't miss any important points regarding why we're here tonight, why our group is here tonight, and because we're here to establish a relationship with the commissioners and with anyone associated with it. We wanted our group to get a chance to meet the commissioners, and also for the commissioners to get a chance to see some of our group members. We're here to work with the commissioners and ask the commissioners to work with us to try to address some of the concerns and some of the communities, the underrepresented communities, what I would call them, or communities that are needing a lot of work done to help improve some of the condition that's there. So that's what we want to do. We want to establish that working relationship so that the commissioners can come to the community, see what's going on, and to help us to get funding and support on getting some of these issues corrected. So I'm going to read this briefly. It'll only take about 5 minutes. And starting out, it says, we represent the Hart County Training School Historical Recognition Sponsor Group, Incorporated. I am the organization president. My name, Nathaniel Clark. We are a 501c3 organization. There are hundreds of historic markers located throughout the state of Georgia. The Georgia Historical Marker Program is an outstanding tool for preserving the history of the state of Georgia. Historical markers serve to educate citizens, visitors alike, about the people and events that have shaped our past and present. Last year, we worked with the Georgia Historic Society, successfully erected Hart County very first Georgia Historical Marker. And we had a lot of help from a lot of people, and we had a lot of help from Mr. Floyd over there and his group, the Board of Education, to help us get that done. But several other people also helped to accomplish that. The marker is in Hartwell, Georgia, Rome community at the site of the Hart County Training School, which was Hart County's last school for African Americans. Now, specifically, we wanted to discuss or get some ideas from you all regarding the Executive Order 13985. And this was President Biden's executive order that he started in January of 2021, this year. And I have reviewed it, and it's just a lot of material to learn, but I have reviewed it, and what I'm hoping that the gist of this executive order is to get equity in the underserved communities, and Rome, Georgia, Rome community is one of those underserved communities, but that's not the only one. But there are other underserved communities that are present in Hart County as well. So, but we want to specifically deal with the Rome community, but we, as a group, we are willing and want to work with other underrepresented groups as well. Executive Order 13985 defines equity as the consistent and systematic, fair, just, and impartial treatment of all individuals, including individuals who belong to underserved communities that have been denied such treatment, such as the Native Americans, Asian American, Pacific Islanders, and several other Black, Latino communities as well. So that particular order is to put attention to those communities and to address the concerns by those communities. And my understanding is that the federal government has allocated funds for those communities to help bring them up to par. And part of our goal is to work with the commissioners that's covering that area and any other who has an interest to help us there to help address those concerns in the Rome community. Now, one of the specific items that we would like to work with in the Rome community has to do with the restoration of the gymnasium. As I mentioned earlier, the gymnasium is one of the remnants of the Rosenwald era period, and it is still existing. It needs a lot of work done on it. But there are things that we have to do as a group. First of all, we have to get the approval to obtain that gymnasium, and we're working on that currently now. But with the gymnasium, we figure that that could be a point how we can help develop the Rome community. We are hoping that the gymnasium can be restored so that we can have activities there, such as it can be a community center, there can be education activities, there can be entertainment for the youth and the adults, because as in many communities, there's a significant rise in gang problems, as well as drug problems. And I think part of it has something to do with the young folks not having much to do in the community. So that would be one of the projects that we would like to work on. But there are certainly a lot of others which falls within the purview of this Executive Order 13985. Executive Order 1395 defines underserved communities as populations sharing a particular characteristic as well as a geographic communities that have been systematically denied a full opportunity to participate in aspects of economic, social, and civic life exemplified by membership in communities such as the communities I mentioned earlier. So the bottom line is that Based on the executive order and Hart County, the Rome community is an underserved community. It is our understanding that plans are under the way to projects associated with American Rescue Relief Funds. For the funds coming into Hart County, our ask to date is what economic set aside are you considering for underserved, disadvantaged, and marginalized citizens to improve the underserved communities, such as the Rome Street community in Hartwood? And to just kind of summarize that, we are aware as a community, the Rome community, and also as the Historical Recognition Sponsor Group, we are aware that based on this executive order that President Biden started this year, that the intent is that the monies that are allocated by the federal government, which comes out of many different pockets and sent to various communities, that there is some of that is earmarked for underserved communities, such as the Rome community, such as other small communities in Hart County. That there's money that earmarked for those communities based upon the community presenting its case to whoever will be the person who asks for the money. So I don't have a lot of information at this point, but I'm trying to get as much information as possible regarding this. And I guarantee that next time we talk, I will have a lot more information to share with you all, and hopefully you all can share with me. But the bottom line is that we're asking the help of the commissioners and anyone else, stakeholders, who has an interest in finding a way to improve some of the condition in Hart County. Now, I'll open it now for any questions or comments that you all may have with me. And then I'll ask if Diane or Loretta would like to say something. If not, okay. So if anyone has a question or comment from me, I'll certainly try to answer it.
Any of the commissioners have a question?
I got one. What all projects are eligible for this money? What type of property? Do you know the answer to it?
Well, I know that there are several categories, and I can give you a copy of, so I can send you a copy of the information I have, that specific categories that will be eligible for it. But education, for one, for instance, a lot of the information is based on how the COVID-19 pandemic affected the community, with the understanding that it appears to have affected the underserved community much worse than other communities. And so education is one. It could affect the ability of people in that community to get appropriate education in terms of having to stay out of school because of whatever. So education is one. Two, it could be small business in communities like that. For instance, a hair business, barber, hair salons. With the pandemic, they had to reduce the number of people that could be present there, and with that reduction, there's a reduction in the amount of earnings that they could do as well. So I'm sure there was a significant impact that way. And the bottom line is that the federal government felt that the impact was stronger in the underserved communities than it would have been communities otherwise. And I'll make sure I'll send you a copy of that information that I have, okay? If you have a copy, I can give you a copy tonight, so.
There's one right outside there.
Okay.
I don't know how to operate it.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll try to get you a copy of that. Other questions?
I'd just like to thank you for bringing this to all of our attention. These
Okay.
communities are suffering. I know I've been in them for the last 3 weeks, observing Hickory Crossing, Cokesbury, Newburgh, Rome.
Yes.
Of course, we spoke on the phone a couple times, you and I.
Yes.
And there's a lot that can be done there if you could get this grant through, and applied in a lot of areas. And it also includes stores there as well.
Yes.
As far as
You're absolutely on target. And I think that, if we could all work together, we can get fundings because according to this executive order, fundings has been made available, but through different channels, and it describes how to go about getting it. And that's where, I have a lot of lack of knowledge in terms of that, but I'm trying to get more knowledge regarding it so we can work together to get more funding and support for those kinds of communities. That includes Flat Rock as well. So.
Well, you have my number. You can call me if anything that you may
Okay.
help you with.
All right, will do, and I certainly will too. I will be calling you, and I wish that I had more information to share with you at this time, but it's kind of new to me. Well, it's something that I found out probably about 2 weeks ago, and we're trying to take advantage of that for those communities.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments to me? If not, certainly I'd like to thank you again for inviting me. Oh, was there another question? Yeah. No, gymnasium, that's just one. There's a gymnasium is one thing that we hopefully we can get approval to possess it for one, and then to make the restoration. But there are other specific areas in the Rome community. For example, transportation for elderlies, back and forth to the doctors and those type of things. And also, I know that in the Rome community, and it's not uncommon for a lot of other communities, they have the same problem with youth and young adults being incarcerated, and when they get out again and come back to the community, and say young folks especially, and attempt to get a job, they get a job, but many times they don't have the transportation back and forth to the job. So, and I think that if we could address that one small thing, it would certainly help as well, because I think some of those people would be able to retain the job longer if they could have a way to go back and forth to the job. And with this executive order, it will address that. And another for the elderly to get back and forth to the doctor's office. It can address those things as well. So those are just some of the smaller things, but there's a large number of things that would be applicable to underserved communities. Did that answer your question? Are there any other questions from anybody? So if not, I would say again, thank you very much here, and I certainly appreciate the opportunity to come before you, and the next time I'm here, I hope to have a lot more positive information for you, okay?
All right, thank you, Dr. Clark. Next on the agenda is the reports by constitutional officers.
Mr. Chairman, could I just take a point of personal privilege and thank Dr. Clark and his committee members for putting the spotlight on this. I had a law school classmate, not quite 100 years ago, but some think so, Aviva Kentner, who produced a documentary on the Rosenwald schools. And I sent her a letter to try to get her here, but she only made it to northwest Georgia rather than northeast. But I appreciate what you're doing. I believe, gentlemen, that y'all have the second draft or current draft of the rendering plan. We mopped up, the first one was done in quite a hurry. We mopped up a good bit of it. There's still work to be done. Commissioner Carter gave me the benefit of his thoughts. We did add in a provision on, well, what I called it was small-scale exceptions, which would be like if somebody has a backyard deer skinning operation or cutting up the meat, or a hog, a cow, or something like that. That doesn't really do it commercially, but that does it for private individuals from time to time, because this is really designed to strike or to encompass the very large such operations. And that is not on the agenda tonight. What I would like for y'all to do is just take another hard look at it and see if you want to put it back on in light of the soon-to-be expiring moratorium on that. So that's all I have, unless I do have other matters on the agenda later, but that's all I have unless there are any questions.
Questions? If we don't have any questions, and since Walter has presented it, would it be out of order to go ahead and take this as the first reading?
We need to put it on the agenda as part of the
Okay.
regular.
Mr. Chairman, I think it ought to go on next
Okay.
agenda as the first reading.
Okay.
There will certainly be time if you take it on the next meeting as the first. There'll be time to get it done.
As far as the moratorium?
Yes.
Okay.
Please give me the benefit of any comments that you have. It is, I sent you an email earlier, it's difficult to draft an effective ordinance in a county which has no comprehensive zone.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll go on to County Administrator's report.
Yes, we'll start off with the budget. I'm going to read this off my screen. I can see it a little better. For the months of June, our total revenues, the actual revenue was $723,934. That's low. That's because we collect all the property tax in December and January, and it wanes down as the year goes. Our expenses was just a little over the normal rate at $1,266,351. That left a monthly variance of negative $542,416. The real property coming in, which is down just a dwindle now, was at $29,644. Loss was above expected, $297,438, which is another all-time high.
That's a record, yeah.
Last several months, it's set the record every month. EMS fees, they was above expectations at $157,831. The vehicle tag fee come in at $133,752. That leaves us about 1% under budget on expenses and 12% over on revenues. Any questions on this one?
I just want to make a comment real quick on the LOST. We don't get 100% of that collection. It's shared with the municipalities in the county. We only get like 71, 72% of that. So you'd be looking close to $400,000 in full collection, just so everybody knows.
The next one's Payne Creek. For the month of June, we took in $23,797. On this, you got cancellations and refunds. We refunded $4,938 of that. The actual expenses was over what we expect, just for the simple reason we re-sanded all the beaches, so we hauled a bunch of sand in. And the monthly variance was a positive $6,355. Year-to-date, for the county is $123,308. And the camping fees brought in $23,797, as it says above. With 21% under budget on costs and over 300% on revenue at the moment. The other thing I've got is the traveling Vietnam Memorial Wall is coming in the 1st of September. I don't remember the exact date.
This opening ceremony is September the 2nd, but it'll be coming in on September
the 1st.
Right.
It's going to be at the tennis courts in front of Katichi. I was contacted by them. We're going to furnish the lights, keep it lit up 24 hours a day for the guards. So just kind of putting people's mind, it's coming 1st of September. That's all I have.
All right. Thank you, Terrell. We appreciate that. far as chairman's report, I'd just like to say I appreciate all the work that Ronnie Temple has put in, Lisa has put in, and Terrell has put into Paynes Creek. I spent 2 weeks down there recently, and everything looks good down there. I think it was a wise investment for the county to provide this service to our community here, and you just seen a financial report. It's, it's subsidizing itself. It's paying for itself. So I really believe that we made a good decision with Paynes Creek.
I forgot one thing.
Okay, go ahead.
Milltown is open for business. Yes. We started pulling in reservations this morning. We started advertising this morning. We've already got reservations made. But it's on our website, the link from our website to it, just like Paynes Creek. That's all.
All right, thank you, Terrell. Commissioner's Report, District 1.
Everything I got's going well. I'm still getting some calls about road striping, so I have a list, and I spoke to Terrell, and Terrell said that we all need to get a list as commissioners of the roads that we need to stripe, so I guess that's about all that's happening in my community, so I'd appreciate if all the commissioners would get their list together, so we might get some of that done. Thank you.
All right, District 2.
I appreciate our law enforcement and the job that all our county employees do, and that's all I got.
Okay, Commissioner Carter, District 4.
Well, I was going to ask about Milltown, but you already answered it for me. Thank you.
Is that all you got? District 5.
I'm sorry, one more thing. I seen the Woodman of the World, they back in operation now so we can get our flag. Thank you.
District 5.
I just want to congratulate the Junior League All-Stars. They won the District 7 tournament. Yesterday beat Toccoa 6-1, and we'll move on to represent Hart County Little League in the state tournament, which I think is going to be in Bogart. And then those of you who know me know I'm a big supporter of emergency services, and today marks the end of an era for two of our good paramedics. Ronnie Thompson, who's been with us for 19 years, is leaving to attend nursing school and is going to be working at the ER at Elbert Memorial Hospital. And Leah Mize has been with the county for 20 years, is going to be leaving as well. Both of them are going to continue to stay on as a part-time basis, but being a volunteer fireman for over 25 years and a first responder, I've ridden in the back of an ambulance with both of them, as well as Terrell too, back when he was in the EMS days. You couldn't ask for better paramedics and better patient care than what our group down here with EMS does. Great group. These are going to be two key team members that are going to be missed, and we've got some holes to fill. If anybody's keeping up with what's going on nationally, EMS is becoming, it's going to be a hot spot. A lot of opportunities and career opportunities, but unfortunately, the jobs aren't being filled. So that's one of the things that we've got to be cognizant of as we go forward. But I just wanted to share that and thank Ronnie and Leah for their service for Hart County for as long as they've done it. So that's all I got, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Dorsett. I would like to add Terrell and Commissioner Dorsey and myself, we've reached out to DOT and the truck route signs.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
They have been a big help down, especially down Highway 51, where trucks were trying to turn on Memorial Road and some of these other smaller county roads. They did put up a truck route sign there with an arrow to keep them going on down 51 instead of taking those routes. So I believe that's a plus. I hope it works out. I believe it will. So, but we appreciate all the ones that participated in helping getting those signs here in Hart County.
If I could, Mr. Chairman, I did fail to mention one other thing, and it was in line with that. Tomorrow, GDOT is going to change traffic operations at Bio Church Road, Clay Brown Road, and Highway 172. There will be a four-way stop that's implemented tomorrow, unless something has changed. The 14th is the day. With a long-term plan, to put a roundabout at that area, but there's been a lot of wrecks, and it's one of the locations we asked them to conduct a traffic study, and it's, they were already working on it because it's one of the most dangerous intersections, or they said the most dangerous in the state. So just so everybody's aware of that, the traffic patterns will be changing. They're supposed to change tomorrow. There's signs out there already. So I just wanted to mention that. I almost forgot about it.
All right.
That's all.
Thank you, Commissioner Dorsey. All right. Now we'll move on down to old business, 12A, Silver Oaks Homes North Lake subdivision revision. We tabled that at our last meeting.
Make a motion to take it off the table.
Second.
Who made the motion?
I did.
Okay, Commissioner Dorsey made a motion to remove it from the table, and Commissioner Carter seconds it. Any discussion on that? If not, we'll call for a vote. All in favor? Okay, 5-0 vote to remove it from the table. And one of the things that we had some concerns with was the residents there that had bought into this subdivision with the understanding of acre lots, and at that time we did not know that they were restricted covenants on this subdivision. So, but we had concerns about people that had bought into this thinking that all these lots were going to be at least an acre in size, and then we come back and we okay for half-acre lots. And that was our main concern. And at that time, we had no record of any covenants, but since that time we have a record of restricted covenants for North Point. It says only one single-family residence shall be constructed on said property, and no lots shall be subdivided. So, and I understand that we did subdivide some lots on the inner part of this circle, but I'm willing to say that I made a mistake. If I voted for that, I did not know of these restrictive covenants, but now that I'm aware of these restrictive covenants, I kind of find it hard to approve in relation to respect to these people that have already bought into this subdivision. And with that, I'll open it up for discussion. Any other commissioners got a...
My thing is that I got a set of restrictive covenants on North Point, and on the, here we have North Lake. Is this due to new ownership, or is this a typo, or what? I mean, which one are we doing here?
I have an opportunity to address the council.
Okay.
You're welcome to answer.
Just a second. Let me skip.
If I don't see what we got as far as the covenants.
Well, it would be recorded as a partial in whether it changed names or not. I mean, it's still the same parcel of land.
Right, same parcel of land, but is this due to new ownership? Has there been any other covenants made for North Lake or something?
Hold on just a second. Well, the road is still North Point Circle. I mean, when did the name get changed? Did it come back to the commissioners for the subdivision name to change?
Well, that's my question, because my agenda says North Lake.
If you guys will remember, I told you a meeting before last that this subdivision, in my opinion, is nowhere near compliant to the subdivision ordinance as it is today. We talked about the roads and...
Right, I remember all that, yeah. But I didn't know if there was some new information somewhere. That's my question. Y'all the owners? What's the name of it out there? What are you operating under? North Point? Okay. Okay.
Was North Point Circle changed? The name of that road changed? I just wasn't sure.
Well, that's what I asked. Was it just a typo or something? I didn't know if that was more new information or what.
So that should be North Point subdivision?
Let me double check this. should be on the plat. What's the plat? That is North Lake. North Lake subdivision. There could have been a typo on my part to begin with. It's the same subdivision we're talking about, plat.
On the point where the plat, I'm holding it, those North Point.
I believe North Lake can be a typo.
Okay, so we'll correct that on the agenda. It's actually Silver Oaks on North Point subdivision.
I got you. Because there's a North Lake too, aren't they?
Yeah, there's North Lake off of North Forest.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, any other discussion from the commissioners?
Excuse me, I'd like to hear what they got to say.
Well, that's what we're going to go to, right? All right, Mr., would like to address the board.
I just would like to point out, I think the council's misinformed as to, yeah.
What was your name, sir?
Oh, I'm sorry, for the record, Joshua Rand, R-A-N-D.
Thank you.
You the owner or you?
Well, I'm an attorney and I'm also part owner of the land development company. I think the council's misinformed. The covenants are not specifically of record encompassing the entire tract of land. The covenants that which we concede are individual and specific to each deed. They're not reciprocal. They apply to the lot that has been portioned off and conveyed to the subsequent owner. They do not return and are not impacting the builder's rights. So that is correct that in each individual, so there's no actual covenants of record for North Point subdivision. Each list of covenants, and I've got an example of a deed of a prior conveyance, again, is specific to each lot. Therefore, it wouldn't be appropriate for the council to make that argument because it's just not applicable. It doesn't reverse. In other words, covenants are expressed, they're not implied. There certainly could be some instances of implied covenants, but we don't get to that. It becomes the intention of the parties, and it's never been our intention to come under restriction. That's evidenced as our intention prior to, I don't say subdivide, but readdress some of the lines in the community. I would also address the council and say, well, I think it's actually done the opposite effect. I think it's improved the values of the property that's there, and it's a benefit to the homeowners that have already purchased in that community. Several years ago, our starting home price was approximately $200,000. That's been increased by 10 to 15% over the years. I also think that as some of the lots might be a little bit smaller, some of the larger lots may have a little bit more value in terms of resale. So I don't think it's impacting that. The original intent per the 1 acre lots was based upon the fact that it was well, it wasn't city water. That was changed by Mr. Greg Parker, who subsequently sold the land to our company. Water was put in per the county requirements, and per the county, they approved half-acre lots based on that. That was what, so it's really there more for the the homeowner, because per the prior county requirements, they wouldn't be allowed to do that because of the way that it was set up on well and not city water.
So these are preliminary covenants. This is preliminary covenants and not a master covenant?
It is not a master covenant. These are specifically recorded to each lot that is conveyed. There is not a master covenant that has been...
So there is no master covenant?
There is no master covenant of record. That's correct. So council's attempt to kind of enforce that upon builder or developer is just not appropriate. The other point that I would make is that it's really up, I would say that it would be a matter of standing. I think if there was an issue as to whether or not covenants are being violated, that's potentially up to the homeowners to try to bring in force. I do have case law directly on point, though, that challenge would not go anywhere. Case law on point specifically says if covenants aren't written down, covenants need to be expressed. They can't be implied back to to the builder, unless it was ultimately the intention of the parties, which it wasn't.
Is a part of these covenants made a part of the deed or anything like that?
Only as to each individual conveyance from the developer to the homeowner. In fact, I have the deed that was from Greg Parker into Silver Oak Land Development, and you'll notice specifically an absence, and I have copies, if the county would like to pass that, I've gotten individual ones. You notice an absence of that specific list of covenants. So there were no restrictions that flowed from the prior builder.
Is there anyone here from North Point subdivision?
Let's get back to what were you saying about the reason the lots were big? Because of what?
So my understanding is that per county requirements, it was well water, correct? So prior to Greg, I think there's been quite a bit of history. I think if you go back to North Point, I think this subdivision started back in 2000.
Well, the reason I ask, it says there will be no bored or drilled wells placed on the lot. Water is furnished by Hart County.
It is now, yeah.
Well, this is when the covenant was written.
I don't know when those covenants were written.
Greg Parker paid to have the county water running. It was all well before.
They don't individually drill on the well, and that's not where another one is at. The gravity is
No, we had cap wells.
Wait a minute, let's come up here and speak.
So I'm Judge Mock, one of the owners of Silver Oak Land Development. When we bought the land off of Greg Parker, there were wells that were in place that we had to cap because of the fact that the wells were no longer in use and we had county water. So originally, when Greg Parker came in, the requirement for 1 acre lots was because there was no county water. The decision was made by Mr. Parker at that time to go ahead and pay to have county water brought in. He did not modify the lots at that time, but he could have, because the requirement at that point was only ½ acre. So when we came in and started building with Mr. Parker, we built several houses out there, and then we made the determination that we'd like to buy the property off of them, which we in turn did. And then at that point, we came to the county and said we'd like to redefine some of the lines. We didn't take each lot and divide it in half. We just redefined some of the lines to increase the footprint, and we did get a couple extra lots out of that. But we're not asking you to say, okay, we have 20 lots, now we want to make it 40. In essence, the outer loop that we're talking about today, we're only expanding it by 3 lots. We're not, redefining each and every lot and subdividing it. We're just redefining some of the lines so that we can fit the houses in there, which does benefit us at the time because we get to add a few more lots. And we're not subdividing every 1 acre lot into a ½ acre.
Well, back to those wells, there's no drilled or bored operating wells out there?
Not anymore, no.
Okay.
So they were capped.
So you're adding 3
lots.
3 lots.
3 lots.
3 dwellings.
Pardon me?
3 dwellings.
3 dwellings.
So my question
Now, on
is,
the exterior portion, I think it was like 5 on the...
Yeah, we had undone all that. That's over, that's done. But
I mean,
what we're talking about now is 3 dwellings.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
so what is the understanding of the people who live there today? What is their understanding about whether or not these lots can be divided or not?
Personally, Commissioner Dorsey, I've never had anyone make a complaint or come up to me and complain about it whatsoever.
Have you talked to anybody?
I have.
Have you reached-
I talked to the homeowners constantly.
Who have you talked to?
I've talked to, I've talked to the Lemmings. They have a 1 acre lot. I've talked to, maybe others, I can't, but
There's some in there that have problems with this. You know that, don't you?
I have not heard them to me. No, I have not. And just, to Mr. Rand's point, their property value has increased substantially. So even if they're looking at the size of their neighbors' lots, if they were to go to resell, their resale value has increased. Mr. Rand was off a little bit in the numbers. When we started, our asking price was $190. We're now at $230. There have been resales in there of people who bought and resold and made $20,000 off.
But that's not because of what you've done. That's market conditions that are driving that. So don't take credit for something that's not there.
It's not applied. It's not applied.
Well, it's, what I'm saying
It's
is,
not the fact that the value of the house is on the half acre.
you're basing your argument on the fact that by subdividing these into half acres, it's driving the values up. That's the market conditions are doing that, not what you're doing.
And I'm saying that the people who have the larger lots have more value within their lot than the person that has a half acre lot. So they have more land. A lot of people don't want an acre. That's a lot of property. That's a lot of land to take care of. They don't want to have to be responsible for mowing an acre lot. You know, I mean, some people do want an acre. Some people don't. You know, I won't go out and mow an acre of grass every weekend. You know, it's not what I want to do spending my time.
And I would just throw it out, I'm not quite sure I understand the point that, I'm sorry, I can't think of what Mr. Dorsey you're trying to make, but I think it's an overall assessment where, you know, quality product is going into the community. It's not, I mean, try to find a home in Metro Atlanta, a brand-new home for this quality built for, you know, under $250,000. It's impossible. You can't even buy tear downs for $250,000. So I think the overall what's happening there is it is creating a benefit, not just for the people in the neighborhood, but for the community as a whole.
The other thing is, y'all done a fantastic job of going out and bringing industry into this area. We're trying to provide homes for the people who come to work in Hart County. Now, that's all we're trying to do is provide a good quality home at a reasonable price for these people.
What's the average cost of a home up there?
Right now, about $230,000. And most of that, if you look at the cost that we started with, that is driven by pure material costs.
Yeah.
We're not making any more than we were when we were selling them.
I understand that 100%.
Yeah, we're not making any more profit.
Now, those market conditions, we absolutely have no control over.
The median cost of a home in Georgia is $311,073, and to be able to afford that home, you have to make at least $68,922.
Oh, wow.
Then the point I'm making is, if you got a half acre lot, that lowers the cost of the home as well. And the reason I'm making this thing is when you price a home and it jumps up $1,000, that takes a lot of people out of the ability to own that home.
Absolutely.
Quite a few people out of the ability to own that home.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, in the state of Georgia, when the price goes up $1,000, it takes 6,805 people out of the ability to afford a home. Wow. So that's.
All right.
But let me finish. Also, we have in our ordinance here, 46-191, that we can have 100-foot wide and 120-foot deep lots. That's in our ordinance, 46-191. So you still bigger than that. Now, we had a question last meeting about roads. I think you brought up the road issue. Have the roads been taken in by the county on that?
No.
Negative. No.
They have not been taken over.
You can't take them in.
We still have a road maintenance agreement that is on record. And so once we get to a certain point within the subdivision, we will finish the final coat and then pass it over to the county. We have
So-
a road maintenance agreement in place.
So where's all the inspection records for this road that's supposed to,
No, he's asking, I'm sorry. They're here.
we do have them?
And one,
What about the bond?
There was no bond ever asked for or requested.
It's required.
And I'll tell you why. Originally, this road was approved to be tar and gravel, if you remember, on variance for an
Then when
experimental
it come back
subdivision.
in, it was changed to
And
asphalt.
we ended up doing asphalt. We didn't have to. We had a choice, but we went with asphalt because it was about the same price as tar and gravel.
Regardless
But-
whether it's
but we
asphalt
were
or
not
tar
asked
and
to put a
gravel, the
bond up.
bond
That's-
requirement does not
We
change.
didn't have to put a bond up.
You don't have to. This subdivision needs to be brought into compliance.
We weren't asked to put one up then.
That's a
It was
requirement,
originally put in.
Charlene. You should know that.
Not if you're not asked to put one up.
Well, it's required.
Well, ask us to put one up.
It needs to get compliant.
Well, ask us to put one up. And we ain't putting $1 million bond either.
That's a requirement.
Bonds all left, and you can check those reports. All those reports are great.
I rode through that up there the other day. The road looked in pretty good shape. All the construction going on up there, if it didn't have a good base up on it, the road would be tore up more.
It's got some little broke edges around it, but most all roads do now.
A lot of construction traffic going in and out. Once we get to 80% complete, we'll put our
Right.
pass those to the county.
It's not,
It's outlined in the ordinance how the road has to be brought in.
It's very
Get
clear.
80% of the construction done and put the final coat of asphalt on it. It lays.
A year. A year.
It looks
Lays
like
a
it needs
year.
another coat on it.
Then we go back and check it again. If it passes inspection, then it's taken.
Then we vote on whether or not to bring it in.
They are.
Well, and I would add, even though we're only looking to add 3 lots, one of our concerns when we took it over is we were prepared and we understood that we were going to have to put a top coat in. That was all taken into consideration in our process. But adding 3 lots makes us that much more economically viable to make sure that we meet county requirements. So all of this is, again, we're on the same team. We're for the betterment of the community, the county, and we want to do the right thing. And I think allowing us to do this, again, it's 3 lots in a community. I mean, that's less than 10%. How many lots total do we have out there? So, yeah.
I also noticed that the concrete driveway was raised up, probably to allow for the top coat.
Correct. Yeah.
what's the percentage of the build out up there right now?
28 homes and 55 total.
So about 50% thereabout.
Give or take, yeah.
Well, I'll make a motion in regards to the information that it's just 3 lots, and after looking at them, they're, a lot of them are .85, .995. I mean, there's more that's larger than a half an acre that is right at a half an acre. I'll make a motion to approve the subdivision. All right, we got a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
I guess, why do we change the game now? We know there were some issues. I just don't think it's right to change these things for these people who bought in good faith with an acre lot. If it was you, how would you feel?
I understand that, but if that's on my deed and it's not on everybody else's deed, how can I control that?
But ultimately,
And actually, I wouldn't have a problem with that.
And actually, Mr. Dorsey, we never marketed these houses as an acre lot. Each lot was platted with what it was. It was never said, oh, you're getting an acre lot.
you may not have, but other people have.
Well, the people buying now know what the plat says. The people who bought there still have their acre lot.
How long have y'all owned that subdivision? 3 years.
About 2.5, so.
I mean, there's going to be problems with half-acre lots when you start looking at the future with septic systems and repairing drain lines. There's no room on half-acre lots. The health department requires you to have room to repair those. There's just not room there.
We complied with everything the health department has asked.
I understand, but other than that, I mean,
As
there's no-
Commissioner Sayer pointed out, though, these aren't, it's exactly half-acre lots. They're just they're slightly less than the acre that they were before, and we're sort of talking minuscule movement here.
Again, we didn't take and subdivide each lot. We just redefined some lines. So yeah, some of them, they became a little bit smaller than an acre, but they're not half-acre lots. They're still larger than half-acre.
I understand that. I've seen the documentation and the plats that's been provided. But, we've talked as this board that half-acre lots are a thing of the past, are going to be a thing of the past. And I agree that these are larger, so there is a little bit more room. But the other problem that you have on some of these lots is this drainage ditch that goes through some of them.
And we've addressed that with the health department. So they told us exactly what we can do from the entry point and exit point of the drainage ditch and where we can and cannot build.
And I believe the health department's already stamped these, correct? Yeah, the health department's already gone through their,
And we actually went through and we did all the soils just to confirm that they were good. Once they had already been done, we paid to have them redone.
You move the dirt around?
No, sir. But have we moved the dirt around? No.
You did on the interior,
Yeah, not on that. Yeah, not on those, not that.
Okay. I made the motion to approve this subdivision. Commissioner Bennett made the second to approve it. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I got couple more things to say. I rode through that the other day. I know some of your ditches need cleaning out now, the culverts. I noticed that there's rocks in the ditch that whenever the county does take it over, they're gonna hit them with the tractor when they mow the lawn. And at your entrance, I imagine those trees and stuff like that's gonna be on our right of way. And I hate to see you tear your entrance up, but at some point in time, those trees will create a problem. I'm just pointing that out. It's not gonna affect my vote either way.
We can address that when we need to.
All right, thank you for coming up straight as that.
All right, any other discussion? If not, we'll call for a vote. All in favor? All opposed? Commissioner Dorsey opposed. It's 4-1 vote.
Thank you, council.
All right, next on the agenda is the Legacy Link contract amendment. We got a letter the other day where we had already approved how much we were going to spend, but evidently they've added some more money to this funding. Terrell, if you'd like to explain.
Yeah, they come up with another $28,719 worth of federal funds to go to us, and we need to increase our $12,450 to about $294 to match that matching portion. So it's an increase of $294 to the budget.
I'll make a motion that we approve the increase.
Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Dorsey. Do I have a second?
Second.
We got a second by Commissioner Teasley. Any other discussion? If not, we'll call for a vote. All in favor? 5-0 vote. Next on the agenda is the new business MOU Board of Regents for Cooperative Extension Services.
Yeah, I put in your packet the best I can tell, the MOU is in force now, and the new one. The new one's a lot longer, but the best I can tell, they say basically the same thing.
You said it all says the same thing, just several more pages.
Well, they got a lot more verbiage in here about computer, IT departments and all that stuff than the original one did that was done years ago. So that's the biggest difference I've seen. And we'll check the appropriate box for how we pay them at the bottom. There's 4.
When was the last time we done this? No.
Best I can tell, this one was dated in 13.
This is done when they hired Mr. Miller. And they were supposed to be coming and
whatever it was, when was that, 19?
It was 18, wasn't it?
July 9th of 2019.
Okay.
Y'all reaffirmed it when he was hired. So the original document was in 2013. It was reaffirmed in 19.
Part of that document stated that we would be involved in the selection process, which we weren't.
I don't believe reading that here either, Commissioner Dorsey.
It's supposed to be in here. It's not in here.
Yeah.
And it's also in here under number 5. UGA Extension agrees to the following, that they shall report to the Board of Commissioners at regular intervals on the nature of the county extension program and progress being made. We hadn't had one. I don't think we've had one update since then.
That's true. Now
COVID, I agree. I give credit for that.
Well, she couldn't be here tonight because she's out of town. Or she could be here answering your questions. It's the reason she's not here, because she'd already had a plan to be out of town.
Anytime there's an opening, since we're the one paying part of that salary, we should have a say into who's hired. And that's
I
not in
agree.
here.
I agree 100%. Matter of fact, I was the one who brought that up tonight we were talking about it.
Well, you want to send it back and have them rework it? I think it's just a standard contract. It's a standard contract to use for every county as far as I know, but we can certainly send it back and make y'all's request.
Well, at least be considered at least in the interview process at that point, and so we know what's
the selection part, at
Right.
least, obviously, you don't, those who aren't qualified, you don't want to waste your time, but.
Right. Can we see if we can add some verbiage in there to take care of that, and let's send that back? Is that agreeable?
Yeah, I moved for that to happen.
Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Carter to add verbiage that we would have a part in the employment of the extension agent, seeing how that we play a
Selection
part.
process.
Yeah, okay, in the selection process, since we do contribute to his salary. We got a motion by Commissioner Carter. I'll second it. Any other discussion? If not, we'll call for a vote. All in favor? It's 5-0 vote.
Make sure you tell them about number 5, too.
Well, it's already in there.
I know, but make sure.
Well, I mean, we just talking about changing this.
I understand that, but they're not doing it.
Yeah, you're right.
And that was promised.
All right, next on the agenda is Hart County Water and Sewer Community Development Block Grant application.
Good evening, gentlemen. I first want to thank the commissioners for your past support on the community development block grant applications. We've applied pretty much every other year, or the county has on our behalf, and knock on wood, we've never not gotten one that we've applied for. These grants are designed for areas that have at least 70% low to moderate income households. Matter of fact, today we opened bids on the 2020 grant application that we were awarded, and other than being about $250,000 higher than we would have liked, everything is in order, but everything is expensive these days, unfortunately, including PVC pipe. That said, it's getting more and more difficult for us to find these low to moderate income target areas. It's a very competitive process. Cities and counties throughout the state apply for these grants. And again, we've been very successful in the past. Department of Community Affairs reviews these applications, and one of the big things they look at is how much we would spend per low to moderate income household. So in addition to picking these low to moderate income areas, it's important that they're hopefully fairly close to our existing system so that the total project cost is lower. I'm just mentioning that because we are just starting to look at potential 2022 target areas. And if any of the commissioners or anybody else out there or here has any suggestions, please get with Holly, our office manager over there, or myself, with any suggestions. I know we talked
I'm working on one.
Cokesbury area and so forth. We know they're out there. There's a lot of work, and this is why we're coming to you early for your support, is the target, or the deadline is April 1st of next year. We'll actually have to go out, and I've done this myself primarily in the past, knocking on doors and doing income surveys and so forth. So it's a long process, and it takes a long time to put the grant application together. And again, we're just asking for your support, concurrence, whatever the proper terminology is, because you will have to apply on our behalf. And we try to make it as easy as we can on the staff here, but I know Betty's done a lot of work in the past with running a lot of the paperwork through there and so forth. So that's all I have, just asking for your support to submit the grant application on our behalf.
If this one's successful, how many will these be for the low to moderate income? 5?
What's that?
How many will this be, the 5th one?
Oh,
For low to-
gosh, I think it's probably more like 8 or 9 total, because we've been applying everywhere since before I was.
I mean, that you've gotten for low to moderate, I don't think you've gotten that many.
No, these are all community development block grants that we
Yeah, I
get,
know
all
that.
geared to low to moderate income. Yep.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Maybe a possibility. These underserved communities they were talking about.
That's why I was asking a question.
That might be might could work with them and get some of that money too to help get people water.
I was just listening to that.
Unfortunately,
I can see that running around up there.
because we don't provide the water there, but any place in the unincorporated county, we'd be more than happy to speak with you.
Okay, all right.
All right, what we have on the agenda here is for us to approve them for
So moved.
requesting. We got a motion by Commissioner
Second.
Dorsey, we got a second by Commissioner Carter. Any other discussion? If not, we'll call for a vote. All in favor? It's 5-0 vote.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Pat. Thank you for all the work you do. I appreciate it. All right, next on the agenda is the selection construction manager at risk for jail project. I'll let Terrell take the floor here.
Yeah, I put in your packet the number, the statistics. This has been an ongoing process for the last
If we could have order, please. Okay.
month, 6 weeks. We had 6 proposals presented to us. We narrowed those, 5 proposals presented to us. We narrowed those down to 3 just off of looking at the proposals. We met with the final 3 each time. Chairman Sayer was there, the sheriff, the chief deputy, jail administrator, and jail staff was all the group that met with them. And going through everything, it's our recommendation that we obtain the my mind is completely blank.
Is this the Charles Black?
Charles Black Construction and Precision. I'm sorry, guys. It is our construction manager at risk. That's our proposal.
Pretty much, we had some good folks talking to us that talked to really favorable, but with Charles Black Construction, they're one of the few companies that started jails from the ground up, lock and key. White County, we spent most of the day up there, and they were really impressed with Charles Black and Precision as far as coming under budget and on time, and time means a lot. Right now, we're in a crisis with the jails right now.
I Googled that company up there, very reputable, very reputable.
Yeah.
Charles Black.
Nothing but good.
Yeah, I didn't read anything bad on them whatsoever.
They did a lot of schoolwork here, too.
Well, that's one of the things that we did consider with them being very active in this community as far as schoolwork and other buildings. They already know who the local contractors are as far as painting, laying block, or whatever. They're already a step ahead of a lot of these contractors, and that may help in the speeding the process up in some ways. So I think it was a very good selection, Sheriff. Y'all.
It's just a gut feeling, but, it's a good feeling.
Yeah. Can we get a motion to?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Dorsey, second by Commissioner Carter. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I got one thing I'd like to say. I believe the Charles Black Company used quite a bit of local people when they were here before. So
That's what they expressed they would do.
That's a good thing.
All right. If not,
There was also a difference in the contingency stuff as far as overruns. They were
very good.
Well, they capped this amount. So the other top bidder, there was a larger delta. So this actually saves us some money by doing this potentially.
And I don't think we ever mentioned the amount, but we're talking about $15 to $15.5 million.
Let me kind of explain that when you chime in if you want to. We don't know that amount yet.
Right.
That's an estimation on what we had drawn up now. Now the real work begins where they sit down with the sheriff and everybody and get the exact design. Then they can give us a realistic price on it. So that'll come back in 4 to 6 weeks with that number.
Okay. All right, we'll call for a vote. All in favor?
I got one.
5 vote. Oh, you got a question?
I do have a question. Is that whenever y'all build this jail and sheriff right there gets locking up a bunch of people and we need about 60 more beds, can this thing be added on
Oh, yes, sir.
quickly?
Yes, sir.
I made the vote for it.
All right, all in favor? It's 5-0 vote.
Mr. Chairman, let me just add one thing. At Terrell's request, I have open communication regarding putting together a finance team.
Yes.
Using the Association of County Commissioners leasing program. And this will be a variant of that. It will involve a financial advisor. And Terrell and I think we've got a very, very good and very capable one, as well as a bond attorney, and we have that too. So no commitments have been made because we really don't know the amount, but once the amount is known, then at that point, my team will take it from the point of we'll begin to assemble the money. One of the things, of course, y'all might need to talk about is the timing or staging of it, and my suggestion would be that you do it all up front, because you're not going to get lower interest rates than you are right now.
Exactly right.
And use that fund to generate other funds, and that's, I'll have other details to give you, like an interest rate, but it will be competitive.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gordon. And just for clarification, basically all we have done, as far as this action we've taken tonight, is to secure a contractor to a construction crew to carry this procedure out. We have no obligations in price. We have no obligations in how we're going to pay for it. All we have done is selected a contractor for this job. All right? But that's got to be the first process. We've got to start somewhere. Yeah.
Thank you, Jim.
All right, thank you, Sheriff. All right, next on the agenda is the acceptance of the American Rescue Plan Act funds.
And basically what this is part of the federal money that's coming down through the states to the counties and the cities. The first step in this process is for y'all to vote to accept the funds. The next step would be us to develop a budget, bring it back, and with allowable expenditure. It's fairly well restrictive on what we can spend the money on. But this is just the first step so I can finish registering with the federal government to start sending us money.
So is there any guidelines at this point of, I mean,
You got
are
general
they vague or what?
You got general guidelines. It can be spent for hazardous pay or some stuff like that, bonuses for employees that worked through the COVID crisis. It could be used for personal protective equipment. We can't use it like the first round of money where we just backfilled everything we've done. It's specific. You can't go out and pay a person's salary with it because they got to be designated. I think it's 75% of their time has got to be designated to COVID-related stuff. So in that manner, it's different from our original CARES Act money. And again, I've sat through 5 Zoom meetings with different people, and I hear something different every time we go through one about what it can be spent on, how it can be spent, and stuff like that. So that's still kind of an evolving process. But we'll have it back to you when we get a real good idea on what we can spend it for and the budget that we're going to use it with. That all has to be approved.
I looked that one up as well, and if you don't use the money, you have to give it back.
Correct. Or if you spend it in an inappropriate manner, you got to pay it back. So I want to be real sure we're legal doing what we do before we do anything.
Okay, so what we need tonight is a motion to set up a fund number 203 and agree to take this money.
Correct.
230.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Carter, second by Commissioner Bennett. Any discussion? If not, we'll call for a vote. All in favor? It's a 5-0 vote. All right, next on the agenda is annexation request of partial I-56J 028 into the city of Hartwell. And I think we all received an email on this application here. And what we have here is going to constitute an unincorporated island. And by law, we can by resolution, request the city to provide services to that unincorporated island, and by law, we can annex this property.
I can annex it.
Sir?
The lady, excuse me, the parcel to the right is the one that wants to stay in the county.
Yeah, it will be right there.
It's the unincorporated island.
The island, right. So, and just to be clear on that, the city can provide all services except for law enforcement.
That's
That has
correct.
to be the sheriff.
Now, the other question I have, is that a county road, or is that a private road, or is that a city street?
To my knowledge, it's a private road. It's not in my database anywhere.
Okay.
So it could be a city because it starts in the city. from the main
It
highway.
could well be, I'm not saying.
Right. It's not on our list,
It's
though.
not a
I
county road.
couldn't find it, that's what I was looking for.
I couldn't find it.
It makes sense for it to be, everything down there is in the city except for those two parcels, and
I'll make a motion that we approve this contingent upon the city providing services as required for the resolution that we have to pass.
okay.
Second.
We got a motion by Commissioner Dorsey, second by Teasley, and any other discussion? If not, we'll call for a vote. All in favor? It's 5-0 vote. Okay, next on the agenda is public comment. Do we have anyone here for public comment? If not, can I get a motion to adjourn and go into executive session?
So moved.
We got a motion second.
For litigation.
For litigation, I'm sorry. Motion by Commissioner Teasley, second by Commissioner Bennett. Any discussion? If not, we'll call for a vote. All in favor? It's 5-0 vote.
I'm going to Richmond.
All right, we got a motion by Commissioner Dorsey to adjourn. We got a second by Commissioner Teasley. All in favor? All right, got a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second motion by Commissioner Dorsey and Commissioner Teasley, second.